All right, let's try this again. Hi, everybody. This is Cheryl Richardson, and I'm like moving my phone and my camera around the house trying to find a good connection. For some reason, it was saying that I didn't have a strong enough signal. So hopefully this will work, and hopefully you can see me. If you can, just give me a thumbs up or a heart, letting me know that this is coming through loud and clear and that it makes sense, that I make sense, that I can be seen and heard. That's really what I'm saying. Let's see. Hold on one second, people. Hopefully, there we go. Okay, great. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for all the hearts and the thumbs up. Yay. So, it's the first day of spring. That's how I started the last post, the last Facebook Live I just tried to do. It's the first day of spring. It's my favorite time of year, new beginnings. Of course, I know it's the first day of fall for some people, but here in the States, it's the first day of spring, and I'm so glad. Hi, Taco from Georgia, and Suzanne. So I'm here. Hi, Teresa. I'm here to support you, to do some coaching, and as we get started, hi, Rain. Hi, Jen. I thought it would just be good to think about, hi, Demi from Greece. Oh, my husband's Greek. I've not been to Greece yet, but I really want to go. Happy spring, Jesse from Maine, yes, and Joe. Hi, Jocelyn. So I thought I would just spend some time doing some live coaching with you, and this time well, thank you, Meg. Okay, so Meg says I need a better intro. So hi, this is Cheryl Richardson, and for those of you that don't know me, I've been a coach for longer than I can remember, and I've written lots of books: Take Time for Your Life, Life Makeovers, Stand Up for Your Life, The Unmistakable Touch of Grace, The Art of Extreme Self-Care, a whole bunch of books all about self-care, improving your quality of life, just taking better care of yourself so that you can live a life that's more reflective of your soul than it is your head or everybody else's expectations. So my work has really been all about supporting people in living very conscious and meaningful lives. So thanks, Meg. How was that? That's a little better. So every week or so, I like to come here and just do a live coaching session with you now that we have this technology. And I do upload these videos to my YouTube channel, which is Cheryl Richardson TV. And several people on YouTube, hi Nancy, several people on YouTube had asked me to do a wide version instead of just a portrait version, that it was actually better for them to see on Facebook, so I mean on YouTube. So that's what I'm doing. I'm giving that a try and getting used to looking at the camera. I hope I'm looking right at you, because it's different when you're doing it this way. Anyway, so to start, so it's the first day of spring, new beginnings here. We had ourselves a blizzard about a week and a half ago, so things are finally getting melted around here, and it's really great to just feel like it's 45 degrees out. It feels like spring is in the air. Hey, Susan, thank you. She says, you're looking right at us. Great. Mwah. I appreciate that. So yeah, it's warm today, it's sunny, it's beautiful, and it makes me feel like, okay, maybe spring is here to stay. I feel like I can't complain about the winter. After the winter of 2015, when we had like 2 feet of snow every other day, I don't complain about it anymore. So anyway, I thought so here's what I want you to do. This is your chance to ask a question, get some support. It could be related to anything, your career, your business, your health, and I'll offer you some coaching, some resources, some ideas. I've been did this a long time on Hay House Radio, about 10 years. I took calls from people all over the world on Hay House Radio, and I'm thrilled that now Facebook gives us a chance to do this face-to-face, and I get to see you. Well, I kind of get to see you. I get to see pictures of you. So if you have a question, as you sit here and you begin to type a comment, you want to just make it as specific as possible. Keep it, you can keep it brief, but most importantly, the more specific, the better. It's going to be easier for me to help you. And then in the meantime, what I thought I would do is just give you, hi Charlotte, I would give you a little self-care tip to start. I was thinking as I was preparing for this session, I was thinking, okay, what self-care tip could I give? And what would be a good self-care tip on the first day of spring? And I'm going to give you like a ridiculously simple one that everybody talks about, but I have really learned about the importance of this over the last month and a half as I've been working with a trainer at the gym. And so it's really about drinking enough water. You know, new beginnings are about coming back to life, right? Infusing the body with energy, infusing our lives with energy. And I have been really pleasantly surprised at how powerful water is. Now, I may have mentioned this before in a Facebook Live. I remember years ago when I was on a cruise with Wayne Dyer. We were teaching, and I remember he was like really into the importance of drinking water at the time. It's what he talked about it constantly. He had just been exposed to someone's work about water, the healing power of drinking water. And he was like a huge advocate for the importance of drinking as much water as possible. So about 2 months ago, one of the first things my trainer said to me was that he wanted me to start drinking half my body weight in water every day. And, you know, I always thought that I was a good water drinker, but he really wanted me to measure it to see. And boy, did I suck at it, can I tell you? I had no idea. And ever since, I have been drinking the amount of water my body needs over the last couple of months. Several things have happened. I have a lot more energy. I have no headaches. My skin is less dry, and here in the Northeast, we haven't had much humidity at all, so my skin feels better. My body's eliminating more regularly. It's really good to poop on a regular basis, and water helps you do that. And I also find that now, when I notice a lull in my energy, if I'm feeling a little, if I'm just feeling a little foggy-headed or just low energy in some way, the very first thing I do is I go grab a big glass of water and drink it down. And it's made a huge difference. It's also allowed my body to start losing weight more rapidly than it was before. And just overall, it makes me feel better. So, you know, I was thinking, it's just a great reminder. Find out, you know, if you know how much you weigh, half of what you weigh in ounces is what is a good guideline for drinking. Find yourself a bottle where you know exactly how many ounces of water are in that bottle, or how big the liter is, if it's a liter of water, whatever, and use that as a gauge to make sure, and just try it for a week. Just try it for this week. Do yourself a favor and really make the consumption of water a priority. It's a great self-care tip, and just notice how you feel. So right now, even if you're sitting here and you notice, I mean, when your mouth feels dry, or if you feel thirsty, you've gone way too long without drinking enough water. Your body's now gone into a bit of dehydration, into dehydration mode, so you've waited too long. So you want to go ahead and fill that body with great, clean, preferably filtered water. Yeah, I don't know about you, but where we live, I mean, fortunately, we have a well here, and our water is filtered. But a lot of tap water in cities is just not good at all. So you want to make sure that you've got really good, fresh, clean water. All right, so that's a self-care tip. So let's do some coaching. Let me go back and look. Okay, so Joe says, I have trouble drinking water. Okay, does that mean you can't swallow the water, Joe? Or is it that you have trouble remembering to drink water? Because it is like a fundamental need of the body. And so you want to make it a priority and just do what I said, like find a bottle, know how many ounces are in the bottle, determine what you need to drink on a regular basis, and go for it, okay? Yeah, half your body weight. So if you weigh 150 pounds, you're looking at 75 ounces of water a day, which is a lot. So, yeah, and I know, Jen says, drinking water was a New Year's goal and I let it slip. I did too. I mean, I know better. And it wasn't until the first 3 weeks of my training with my trainer, Danny, the first 3 weeks we focused on, he actually had me write down the water I was drinking, and that's how I learned that it was just very easy for me to forget about it, and that I was always drinking water after I was dehydrated, you know, once my mouth was dry, which it is right now, but my water's in the other room. Practice what you preach, Cheryl. Anyway, okay, so let's see, I'm hoping I can see, yes. Yeah, yes, Robin, chapped lips are also a good indicator, absolutely. Yes, 60 ounces, Jennifer, that's right. Oh, that's a great tip, Carrie. Carrie says, hi, Carrie, my sister, says that she puts rubber bands around her water bottle. So, you know, I can't see the rest of your comment, Carrie, but I'm assuming, so what that means is you do so that you know each time you probably take a rubber band off when you know you've drank, so you know how many of that bottle you have to drink, how many times you have to fill that bottle. That's actually a really great idea, too. So, okay, so yeah, half your body weight. And Muriel is right. Also, she mentions working out. If you're working out a lot, you actually need more than half your body weight. So if I do like an intense CrossFit workout at the gym for an hour, I will go through 25 ounces of water, because I have a bottle that's 25 ounces. I'll go through that, and then I'll actually need more after that. So anyway, all right, let's see. Yeah, Susan, a sign that we neglect ourselves. Yeah, you know, if you're not drinking enough water, it is. I mean, there's so many little ways in which we really neglect our needs, isn't it? Isn't there? I mean, it's just amazing. And if you're not drinking enough water, here's what I know for sure, and I know this just based on my work with clients. If you're somebody who's not drinking enough water regularly, and you know that you should, and you don't do it, it's a little way in which you're not taking care of yourself. And I promise you, it's like the tip of the iceberg. It's just an example of a whole bunch of other ways that you're probably not taking care of yourself as well. Okay, let's see. Yeah, go get your water right now, Carrie says. I agree. You know what? I am going to do something here. I'm having a hard time seeing. Okay, everybody, bear with me 1 second. For some reason, let's see if this works. Having a hard time. Am I crooked to all of you? I bet I am. For some reason, your comments aren't coming through all the way. So I'm going to give this my best shot. Okay. Yeah, somebody loves your tip, Carrie, of the rubber bands. So let's see. Go ahead and start posting your questions, and I'm going to see if I am able to read the whole comments. I hope that I am. If not, I might need to shut this down and do it again. So Roberta says, oh, people, this is making me crazy. Let me try this. Let me see if we can do this. Okay. For some reason, this is not allowing me to see all your comments. All right, bear with me, people, while I do this. Yeah, okay. All right, good. Everybody, hang on 1 second. Everybody close your eyes and take a deep breath. Here's what I'm going to do. Be right back. Okay, thanks, Carrie. So I've just grabbed my laptop so I can see your comments. I'll see your comments online. And then I'll be able to answer your questions. How's that? Let's hope so, anyway. Yes, here we go. Great. Thanks, Carrie. All right. Okay. Here we go. so let's see what we have here. Diana says, hi Cheryl, I wrote this last week. I have a very painful autoimmune disease, and it's turned my life upside down. I read that you have RA, not sure if that's true. No, I don't know where you heard that, but I don't have RA, but wondered how you've coped. I have osteoarthritis in my hands. That may be why somebody thought so, but I don't have RA, but what I would say is this, Diana, really important. I don't know if you've seen like a functional medicine doc or a naturopath, but I would really strongly recommend that you see somebody who can really help you to understand the things that you can do to take back power over your health. So that person, you know, a good functional medicine doctor, this is somebody who treats the whole body, not just an illness or one part of the body, but the whole body. Working with a doctor who can help you to really pay attention to the foods that you eat that will either cause a flare-up or calm your body down, who can do some very specific testing around your immune system to get a sense of what's going on with to just get a finer sense of what's going on with your autoimmune system. I think that those things are really important. I see a naturopath. Here's a great example of that. I recently saw my naturopath, and I hadn't had blood work done in a long time. So I decided to just have blood work done. And I have some high cholesterol issues in my family. So it's one thing in particular I wanted to have checked out, because ever since my dad passed and had heart issues, I thought, you know what, I really should check this out. I mean, I'm in great health, I feel good, but I don't know what's going on. You know, 50% of heart attacks happen to people that you'd never in a million years would think would have a heart attack. So I went to see my naturopath, and she said to me, you know, we could do a cholesterol check and get your total cholesterol and then the levels of good and bad cholesterol. But given your family history, I actually think we should go a step further and just do some finer testing and take a look at the particles in your bloodstream. There's small particles and large fluffy particles when it comes to cholesterol. So sure enough, when she did the testing, had I just had the basic test done that most people have done, most doctors would have said, you know what, I think you're fine. But because she did the finer testing, we discovered that one of the particle tests was way too high, and I needed to address it. And so she was able to give me some supplements, suggest some supplements to begin to bring down the cholesterol level without having to use statins, which I don't want to use. So that's what I would recommend to you, Diana, is really giving yourself the gift of a good naturopath or a good functional medicine doctor, somebody who's treating you the whole system, especially because it's an autoimmune issue. I promise you there are changes that you can make that will actually help you to feel better. And I would imagine that there are some testing that they can do that will help you to find, you know, just pinpoint exactly what's going on in the body so that you're able to make the changes that are going to make a difference. Okay. Yeah, and Paula says, when you eat a whole food, plant-based, no oil, sugar, salt, nuts, or avocados, I love avocados though, your body heals RA, cholesterol, and osteoarthritis. Yes, it can actually improve it, but you know, you want to be careful. I've learned, Paula, I no longer say that something heals anything, because let's remember, when it comes to dealing with health issues, there are energetic issues going on, emotional issues going on, and everybody has different, different genetic makeup. Now, I'm a big fan of epigenetics, which means that although you may have a genetic predisposition to a disease, the environment in which you surround your body and your life can have an impact on whether or not those genes turn on or off. We know that now to be true. But I just want to be really mindful of saying, you know, I eat a great diet. I have osteoarthritis in my fingers because I've been typing like a crazy woman for years. And when I look at the arthritis in my fingers, it's in the exact position that my fingers are on the keyboard. Although I'll say this, this hand here, which used to be in really tough shape, is actually a lot better because I've changed my diet, and I've also been really visualizing strong, healthy hands. So it takes a number of things to support our health, and I just want to be mindful of that when we're talking to other people, because, health is there's a lot of stuff that goes on for people around their health. So, okay, let's see. Okay, so I'm looking here at your questions. Can you talk about grief? Lost my mom in 2015, still had a hard time. Is it okay to cry in front of my children? It's a good question. So Sarah, what I would recommend to you is last week, I talked a lot about grief. There was a woman who had lost there was a woman who had lost her mom, a woman who had lost her sister, and I did some tapping for grief. So I actually would recommend that if you go to Cheryl Richardson TV, which is my YouTube channel, and you look at last week's video, go through and do the tapping sequence that I did with the woman I was speaking to. I'm spacing on her name, but go through and do that tapping sequence. I think it would really help. Of course, you're still having a hard time. It's only 2015. The people we've loved and lost are worthy of our grief. And I can't imagine, just the other day, Debbie Ford died in February of 2013. And the other day, I was working with my computer guy, and I said to him I wanted to get texts off of my phone, text exchanges that Debbie and I had had together when she was alive that were really important to me. And I went through and I was reading them later on by myself, and it just broke my heart. When I looked at all we had been through, all we talked about, the playful ways we communicated with each other, I swear to you, Sarah, I just felt like my heart broke, and I was angry. I was pissed that she wasn't here. I wanted her back, and I wanted the kind of connection that I had with her, which was unique. I didn't have it with anybody else because we were sisters, and we worked together, and we shared so much. We coached each other. I mean, we had been together a long time. So, and I got over it. I mean, it didn't feel good, and I missed her, and I cried, and I got pissed, and then I moved on. So, grief won't kill us. It's not grieving that's going to cause a problem. So, and is it okay to cry in front of your children? You know what? I don't have children. So I don't know how I would feel about that. I mean, I think that if you're really in a tough place and your kids are young, I probably wouldn't do that. But it's okay to feel sad. The day that I was feeling the way I was about Debbie, if I had had children, I would have just said, and I was just thinking about my friend Debbie, and I really miss her, and it makes mommy sad. And so I'm crying, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I think as long as you're not, if you're in a really tough place and you need to process, better to do that with an adult so that you can just protect your kids in that way, okay? All right, Jamal, hi, sweetheart. It's so good to see you here. I miss you. Yes, I'm glad you're here. Let's look. Yeah, I'm job hunting again at age 58, Ann says. It's important that I keep my energy and spirit up. Yes, it is, Ann. It's actually important for anybody, whether they are, regardless of what age you are. And I want to say this to you, and I actually work with a lot of employers who tell me that they're particularly interested in hiring older people because they're just very reliable and dedicated and experienced. And so I think it's really important that you use some great affirmations. I would be saying things like, I am a great catch for some company. Now I'm 57. I'd be saying, honestly, if I were out looking for a job right now, I'd think you would be really lucky to get me. I'm smart. I have a lot of experience. This is what I want you to do, Ann. I want you to say this. And you can say it out loud to yourself in a room. I'm smart. I have a lot of experience. I'm excited to show up and give it my all. Somebody would be pretty damn lucky to have me as an employee. That's what I want you to keep affirming for yourself. And I remember, Louise Hay used to always say, she would say, affirm, the perfect job finds me. And so I would be using that all the time. The perfect job finds me, like a mantra, over and over and over again. The universe is bringing me great opportunities. It's also important and to remember that on the days where you don't feel as spirited and as excited, don't network with people. Instead, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you do some of the things that you would do at home alone. Hi, Poupon. You want to come say hi to everybody? Do some of the things that you do at home, like work on your resume, do some research online, practice your interviewing skills. Just don't engage with people unless you're in a kind of a clear, happy, just spirited place. I think that that's also because, you know, the other thing that happens is when you're interviewing people, when I'm interviewing people that I want to hire, I want to feel like they've got energy and that they're excited. And I can't tell you how many people over the years I've interviewed, whether it was for my own company or for somebody else's company, that just didn't have a lot of energy. And I thought, ugh, who wants that, right? Okay, so Anne, I hope that's helpful. I'm excited for you. The universe has something really great in store for you, I promise you. And you just got to show up for it, girl. Just got to show up for it. It's going to be great. Okay, Jen says, Cheryl, do you have any tips about asking to be paid for work? I'm transitioning into entrepreneurship and don't know how to ask for what my work is worth. I have a money block. I used to have a money block. I want you to start saying that now. Any videos or meditations? This is the year I have to step things up. Okay, Jen, do me a favor. Can you just give me a comment and let me know what kind of work you do? I don't know what kind of work you do. That would be helpful to know. You know, the quickest way to get used to get comfortable with asking to be paid for what you do is to ask somebody, let them say yes, and then you get over it. So in the beginning, you know, back when I used to coach coaches, they were always afraid to either start charging or to raise their fees. And once we did the research and we knew what was appropriate, you know, I would say to them, you're a writer. Okay, what kind of writer, Jen? Like, so are you a freelance writer? Do people hire you to write stories for them? Or are you a copy editor? Like, just give me an idea of what that is. I will say this. One of the things that's really important, Jen, is you want to do some research. So you want to make sure you know what the going rate is for the kinds of services that you're offering, so that you know that you're in the right ballpark. You want to get some experience under your belt. If you are starting out, you know, when I started out as a coach, I write nonfiction, Huffington Post, and an author. Okay, so, you know, I don't know, Jen, if Huffington Post is going to, I don't know if they pay. I know a lot of people write for them and they don't get paid. So I think it's important to, you know, just do some research and find out. I'm just looking to see if I can see your whole, I can't see your whole answer, Jen. Do some research, make sure you're charging the right amount, and then just take a deep breath. It's like jumping into a cold pool. Take a deep breath and make your first request for payment and see what happens. So, yeah, and here's the other thing. Okay, Jen, thank you. I see that. Here's the other thing, and this is important for everybody, particularly when you're starting out in your own business. If you're not making a consistent source of income that allows you to easily pay your bills, then please, please bite the bullet and get yourself a job, whether it's part-time or full-time. Too many people suffer as they build a business because they can't afford it and they're scared all the time. Send off signals of desperation because they're really scared about not getting paid. Don't ask for what they're worth. So there's a lot of ways in which not having a consistent source of income can get in your way. You will show up for an opportunity more confident, in much better shape, if you're not worried about money. And when you are worried about money, there's a way in which that energy comes through. It may not scream, hey, I'm worried about money, please hire me, but it does say that something's, you're not fully present and fully confident. So if you need to be getting yourself an income, you know, if you need to get a consistent source of income, Jen, then I would recommend that you actually start by getting yourself a job. If you do have financial security, then what have you got to lose? First of all, stop saying you have a money block. We're all scared the first time we do anything, or the second time, or the third time. That's normal. It's just called being a human being. So, yeah, you will feel so much more confident. I think last week when I was doing the Facebook Live, I talked about how we all have a comfort zone around us. And the minute we step outside of that comfort zone, the comfort zone expands so that other things that used to be scary are no longer scary. So, Jen, you just simply need to decide what you want to be paid for, make the offering, let them know what the fee will be, charge neutral, no energy about it, no excuses. Just, here's my fee, period, and then walk away and wait and see what happens. If they can't afford it, just means it's not the ideal client for you, so you've got somebody else. Once you do it once or twice, you're going to just feel so much better, I promise you. I promise you. Okay. So let's see, other questions here. Just waiting, I've got to go back because my laptop is a little bit, is slower to... I'm really struggling, so Jessica, I'm really struggling with anxiety resulting from PTSD right now. And I finally had a good cry last night, but I still feel the lump in my throat and the pain, but can't seem to cry anymore. How do I really let go? Well, if you're struggling with anxiety as a result of post-traumatic stress disorder, Jessica, I hope that you're getting support from a good therapist. I would not be dealing with that alone. And now, what's tricky about dealing with anxiety is it often keeps us living in a small area, and we don't reach out for the help that we need. At the first thing I do, Jessica, again, is if you go to Cheryl Richardson TV on YouTube, there's a couple of videos there related to anxiety. I did some tapping videos recently during the World Tapping Summit, Tapping World Summit, and then also there's an older video I did called Tap Away Your Anxiety. I would take a look at those, and I would begin with those because that will help to calm you down a bit. It's great that you had a good cry. That's a great way to relieve anxiety. I also talked one time here about sometimes when, oh good, so you are seeing a therapist. Awesome. So when I know I need a good cry, there are certain movies that I turn to, and I talked about this on a Facebook Live before. Bridges of Madison County, Terms of Endearment. There's a Michael Keaton movie. Those of you watching, we've done this before, Jess. So, Jessica, let's have you people post a movie you've seen that just made you cry, like not a violent movie, but post a movie you've seen that has allowed you to have a good cry. Jessica, I used to take myself to the movies by myself when I knew I needed a good cry. I remember I saw Bridges of Madison County by myself in a theater, and I was like, oh, Out of Africa. Thanks, Susan. Good one. Beaches. Yeah, right. That's right, Teresa. I think you said that before. Yeah, beaches every time. I think it's Brian's song. Thank you, Cindy. I think it's a great way, Stepmom. I think it's a great way, Notebook. Look at this. You've got lots of great ideas. I think that it's a wonderful way to kind of get the engines going, and make sure that you're by yourself. Make sure that you have lots of tissue. And P.S. I love you. Yes, I love you too. I just think it's a really good way to the river runs through it. What dreams may come. Yeah, that's also. You guys have such great examples. Thank you. So I would totally suggest that you check that out. I'm just looking here. Somebody just had, On Golden Pond. Oh, I just saw that recently. Wow. That part where, what's her name? The part where Norman, is like so afraid of dying, and his wife, Katharine Hepburn, says to him, Norman, you're my knight in shining armor, Norman. That part just gets me every time. So Jessica, that's what I would do. That's going to help to relieve. And yeah, so Renee says, I cry at almost every episode of This Is Us. All right, how many of you have seen This Is Us? I'm telling you, that series was like written for all of my peeps. But the episode before the finale was just, I just bawled my eyes out. And it felt great. So Jessica, check out This Is Us if you've not seen that. I think you'll really like it a lot. All right, let's see. Yeah, Jen, it is important for you to ask for what you're worth. Let's see here. I've written, just looking for other questions. Okay. So Robert says, I have an adult child still living at home and need him to go out and support himself. I lost my job after 27 years at the same company. I'm working again for a lot less money with no benefits. This job may be ending in a month. It's causing me extreme stress to be the main support of my wife and adult son. Robert, boy, you are not alone, and I have to say that I've had lots of conversations with men who feel enormous pressure and have for years about being the breadwinner, and also quite frustrated because they haven't had a chance to kind of step back, breathe, and do their own healing work or have the space that they've needed for their own healing work. So I have a lot of empathy for your situation, Robert. A couple of things. First of all, if you can get some support, if you have some male friends that you can talk to, I mean, the big thing that I often say to men is you got to be able to talk about what's going on. Now, I don't know about your relationship with your son or your wife, but what I would certainly do, Robert, is sit them both down and be honest with them. Be as vulnerable as you can be, because that actually really speaks to people. If you can let your son know that you love him, that you'd like to support him, but that you can no longer do that, and you'd like to support him in making a plan to move out on his own, which means he may very well need to get roommates. I mean, that's what I did when I was a kid. There's plenty of nieces and nephews of mine that are doing that now. But coming up with a plan that gives him a deadline, maybe 2 months from now, 3 months from now, and just, talking with him about the importance of him getting out on his own. It's so important, not only to relieve your stress, which is important, but even more important, kids nowadays, equal to going to college, if not more so, kids need to learn how to be adults in the world, how to negotiate a lease, how to find roommates, how to buy furniture. I mean, these are all of the things, how to pay rent on time. These are all of the skills that we need to learn, that kids need to learn in order to survive in the world when you're not around or I'm not around. And a lot of them aren't getting those lessons these days, I'm telling you. So I think it's important for you to let them know that you've done your job and it's time for you to live your life. And you love him and you want to support him. And the way you're going to do that is you're going to give him a deadline. And you're going to need to have him honor that deadline. Now, Robert, don't give him a deadline until you're ready to honor it, because he's going to feel the energy of your wavering and he'll push the limits. It's just what kids do. And he's still a kid if he's living with you. So please don't set the deadline until you actually really feel like you can set it and stick to it. That's really important. So setting a deadline, and then also sitting with your wife and letting her know, I don't know if she's working, but if she's not, could she maybe even get a part-time job? Letting her know that you're tired and that you are living under a lot of financial stress. And the two of you need to sit down and talk about what you can do to unburden you a bit from that financial stress. And also, if you think that the job may only last a month, part of what you'll need to be doing now is looking for the next assignment or the next job, and you're going to need her support with that. So the big thing I would say to you, Robert, is open your mouth, be vulnerable. So instead of being pissed off or, coming home like, okay, things have to change around here, that never does it. Vulnerability is the real key to getting people to actually listen and pay attention. And it might sound something like, I'm a man, I feel like it's my responsibility to be the breadwinner in my family, but I'm also tired, and I'm a human being, and I have too much stress on me, and I don't want it anymore. And I need some help. And I need you, son, to live your life and move on. And I need you, wife, to support me. And we need to figure out, either do we downsize, do you get a job, whatever it might be, I need support in making a plan. I hope that's helpful, Robert. And thank you so much for submitting the question. I appreciate that. All right, let's do a couple more questions. We've got lots of great movie suggestions for you, Jessica, so you'll know exactly how to give yourself the gift of a good cry. Susan says, I try to avoid crying movies. I look to belly laugh movies until I cry with laughter. Both are good. Both are good. Tears are so important too. Okay. Well, there you go. Jessica says, I was looking for a movie for later tonight. Well, honey, you got everything you need here. All right. Let's see. Do you have any tips for the grieving process? Always lots of questions about grieving. Give yourself space. Take some things off your plate, even things you'd really like to do, in order to have the space in your life to grieve. Tell the people close to you that you may need to change plans last minute, because if you're not in the right place, they need to know that you're going to have to cancel last minute, and that it's not personal. It's that you're honoring your grieving process. Don't make any major life decisions, especially over the next 6 months minimum, maybe even 6 to 12 months. No major decisions, because you want to give yourself a chance to digest and integrate the loss that you've experienced. I've talked about grief on the other Facebook Lives. No One Has to Die Alone is a great book. How to Survive the Loss of a Love is an old book, and it's a beautiful book. I love that. Somebody gave me this beautiful little grief and loss, like a daily book. I don't have the title of it, but it's if you look it up on Amazon, it's like a little daily grief book. I thought that was really helpful when my dad died. Those are some of the things that I would recommend, sweetheart. All right, so let's see. Next question. How do you know, so Charlotte wants to know, how do you know when to stop hanging out with people? Or how do you resolve or exit relationships? I care about this friend a lot, but there's so much hatred and fear inside of her, and every time I hang out with her, I'm exhausted. I seem to be her only friend and who makes her feel better. Sometimes I don't feel as tired, so I'm just wondering how much is too much. Well, listen, we all go through hard times, Charlotte, and there are some times, I promise you, when I'm not very easy to be around. But it's not a lot of the time. And if I were a betting woman, I'd say this person is pretty consistently not in a good place. Somebody who's got a lot of hatred and fear, those are two different things. I mean, the hatred is probably rooted in fear, but I remember one time, this is years ago, Charlotte, I had gone through the ending of a relationship. This is before I was married. I had a very close friend of me die. It was like one of those cosmic rug pulling times in my life where it hit the fan and everything was up for grabs. And I met this woman during that time, and we hit it off, and we started walking together. We started this friendship, and about 3 months into the friendship, I realized she was constantly complaining about people. She was a bit manipulative and blaming people all the time. And I just thought, and I would try to have conversations with her to kind of shift the perspective or the energy, and it just didn't work. And I remember thinking, you know what? I can't be in this relationship. I just can't. I can't do this friendship anymore. And I was really, and she was a pretty assertive gal, of course, right? So I was really nervous about it. But I knew she was not going to just take the not answering your phone call, or, I didn't want to, I wanted to address the relationship with integrity. I didn't want to just not return her calls or suddenly drop off the face of the earth. And I also saw it, quite frankly, as a learning opportunity. I knew it was a chance for me to put on my big girl pants and have an honest conversation. And so I didn't do it in person. I did it by phone. And I just said to her, we'll call her Mary. I said, you know what, Mary, I just, out of respect for our relationship and the time we've spent together, I need to be honest with you. My life's really changing right now. There's a lot going on. And what I realize is that you and I are sort of on two different paths at this time in our lives. And rather than ignore your phone call or just sort of drop out of your life, I just wanted to be honest and say to you that right now this friendship isn't going to work for me. I wish you all the best." And she got upset, and she couldn't believe she said to me, "You know, what are you talking about? What are you saying? You don't want to see me?" What I did, which was really important, an important part of this coaching for you is I went back to what the truth was. Instead of engaging in a conversation about that, which was not going to go anyplace good, I just simply said, "Listen, it's just clear to me that I'm just moving in a different direction. And at this point in my life with things that are going on, I just need to be honest with you and say that this friendship isn't going to work with me." And I just kept repeating that anytime she said something that was sort of, questioning what I was doing. And eventually she got the message, and I said to her, "Listen, I really wish you well in your life." And that was it. I ended the conversation. And I was really scared afterwards. My legs were shaking, and I felt really, I just felt really just scared and uncomfortable, and I felt bad. But it didn't last very long. And afterwards, about, I don't know, maybe 10 or 12 hours later, I remember I felt really empowered. And I felt like I had taken care of myself and that I had set a boundary. And the person didn't contact me again, and I went on with my life. And it really gave me the courage. Today I could do that so much more easily than I could back then. So I don't think anybody, we communicate via energy all the time. And if you're with somebody who's constantly got really negative energy and is bringing you down or exhausting you, pay attention to that. It's not just in your head. Your body's literally being depleted by it. And nobody has the right to do that to anybody. So, of course, when I say this to audiences, I always say, now we also have to look at how we are in relationships, right? Am I draining people's energy? Am I being supportive? Am I doing things like paying attention to the give and take in a conversation, making sure that I'm asking people about themselves? I'm not just talking about myself during a dinner, let's say. How am I creating a give and take in my relationships? And am I being a good source of energy for people? I think that's important for all of us to consider as well. So anyway, I hope that's helpful, my dear. You deserve to be surrounded by, what our mothers used to say, right? You are who you hang around with. They were right. Trust me, they were right. So you really want to do that. Okay, so Charlotte, that's right. That was for you, Charlotte. All right. I'm going to end here. I'm going to say thank you so much for bearing with me in the beginning when things were a little funky. I really appreciate that. And I so appreciate that you join me here each week. I really love doing these live coaching sessions with you. If you've not signed up for my online blog, my newsletter, please make sure you go to CherylRichardson.com, or you just look right up at the sign up button and you can sign up there, because every week I write a blog and I talk about some of the events that I'm doing, and sometimes I make some fun offers and things like that. So you want to be subscribed to that. And there's still a few spots left in the Self-Care by the Sea retreat in Maine. So you can find that also on my website. Thank you so much for being with me. I'll look forward to talking with you next week. In the newsletter is where I post the time that I'll be doing this. Some of you probably saw that already. And I'll look forward to next time. In the meantime, remember, drink your water. Lots of water. Half your body weight in ounces. Thank you for all the flowers and the hearts and all of that. I love you too. Take good care. Bye, everybody.